Tonight, wings clipped. Thousands of jobs in the balance as Virgin Australia calls in administrators.
This is not liquidation. This is not Ansett. This is not the end of the airline.
Elective surgery to resume from next week as WA starts on the slow road back to normality. Oil prices plummet into negative territory, what it will mean for Perth drivers. News out of North Korea, the dictator Kim Jong-un is on the brink of dying after surgery complications. And Lloyd Rayney loses his fight to practice law in WA.
This is 10 News First, Perth, with Monika Kos.
Virgin Australia is in a fight for its very existence after going into administration. But there is hope for its 16,000 employees, as well as anyone who has reward points or flights booked, with potential buyers already lining up.
In an industry effectively in lockdown, its second biggest player is admitting no fault.
The oxygen supply of our business was cut off. Revenue was cut off by this crisis.
The administrators are now in charge.
There are in excess of 10 parties, and I'll say in excess of 10 parties who are known to us, who have got a keen interest in being part of the restructure of Virgin.
Much is at stake. Virgin says when Qantas held an effective monopoly, airfares were pushed nearly 40% higher. Then there are the jobs. 16,000 depend directly on Virgin. Ellen Taylor and Daniel Pearce remember their parents being crushed when Ansett collapsed nearly 20 years ago.
My dad moved overseas to continue working.
Dad lost a lot of friends to suicide. It was a pretty impactful event.
This is not liquidation. This is not Ansett. This is not the end of the airline.
Labor says the government needs to buy in to send a signal to the market.
It's about time that Scott Morrison put aside the ideological blinkers and gave the support that is required.
And Virgin's most famous shareholder agrees.
In most countries, federal governments have stepped in this unprecedented crisis for aviation to help their airlines. Sadly, that has not happened in Australia.
All we may have ended up doing is sending $1 billion to foreign shareholders, and that was never part of my plan.
Virgin Australia admits that even before coronavirus hit, it was in trouble. It was cutting costs, it was cutting staff, it was looking to dump unprofitable routes as it laboured under more than $5 billion in debt. Whatever emerges, it will likely be a smaller operation, employing fewer people, flying to fewer places.
We'll come back leaner, stronger and fitter.
And don't expect Sir Richard Branson to pony up.
Richard's portfolio has hotels, cruise lines and airlines, so you can understand that Richard is hurting.
There is hurt enough for everyone. The airline's Velocity Points program is on pause. The only good news, the administrator hopes to have a rescue plan in what he calls a short time. Hugh Remington for 10 News First.
The Prime Minister has announced elective surgery will recommence next week as the nation's COVID cases continue to drop. WA has recorded just a single case in the last 24 hours, but the Premier warns we can't take our foot off the brake just yet.
Claims we're winning the COVID war thanks to incredibly tough restrictions.
It's testing their patience, we understand that.
The PM says we're now on the road to recovery and the next step is to gradually reopen elective surgery from next week.
What we will do is with the hospitals and the clinicians, the treating clinicians, is work through the patients who were cancelled and who are of the highest priority.
It includes thousands of surgical procedures from IVF to screening, reconstructive procedures, paediatrics, joint replacements, cataracts and eye surgeries, along with endoscopy and colonoscopies. But the Health Minister warns patients not to start calling their local hospital.
It doesn't help anyone if our public hospital switchboards are flooded with calls. In fact, it may delay their ability to contact patients in a timely fashion.
He insists patients will be notified from later this week. Also of concern is the restrictions on aged care homes, with reports some have gone too far by banning visitors altogether.
And for those who have
parents in an aged care facility, not to be able to see them in their last months or years of life is devastating.
The Premier says the rules haven't changed. Instead, is reminding everyone, especially aged care providers, that each resident is allowed 2 visitors a day. It comes as WA records another strong COVID result after no new cases yesterday.
But we've had a very good 24 hours again.
There was just one new positive result overnight, a female healthcare worker from Royal Perth Hospital.
She did not attend work with symptoms, and contact tracing will ensure any close contacts are notified, provided with health advice and told to self-isolate.
It takes our total to 546, but the good news is most have recovered, with just 96 active cases. Only 5 of those are in intensive care. But the government says now is not the time to back off and will expand rapid testing to the regions, with results available in an hour. Natalie Forrest for 10 News First.
And as the pandemic continues to bite hard on the Australian economy, the Reserve Bank's painted a bleak picture of just how deep the slowdown is expected to be and how long the recovery is going to take.
We are likely to experience the biggest contraction in national output and national income that we've witnessed since the 1930s.
The Reserve Bank says we are unlikely to see any positive gains until the September quarter. US oil prices have hit an historic low, heading into negative territory for the first time. It came on another day of protests across America, calling for the economy to reopen. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson has the latest.
Well, this is a strange set of circumstances. With airplanes grounded and the streets and roads empty, oil companies simply have too much of it. They don't have anywhere to store it, so they're now paying buyers to take it off their hands. Sadly, though, this doesn't mean you're going to get paid to fill up your tank at the petrol station, but prices at the pump are falling. In Australia, they could hit as low as 75 cents a litre by June. In America, Donald Trump is swooping in to fill up the National Reserve.
That would top it out. That would be first time in a long time it's been topped out. We'd get it for the right price.
So while Americans are off the roads, more are taking to the streets to protest the lockdown measures across at least half a dozen states today. Ironically, they could actually be extending the restrictions if they cause new outbreaks through these gatherings. Here in New York, though, some good news today. The death rate dipped below 500. That's the lowest it's been in 2 weeks. And today, they began randomly testing New Yorkers for the virus antibody to see just how much of the population has had coronavirus without even knowing it. And that data will be crucial for officials in deciding when to reopen up businesses.
And it's expected that tumble in oil prices will cause fuel prices to fall even lower. Let's bring in Lee Steele, who's at a petrol station in Jolimont for us. Lee, when can we expect the savings to kick in?
We probably won't see much of a difference for another week or so, Monica. Petrol prices have already plummeted in Australia thanks to the so-called oil war between Saudi Arabia and Russia. Perth has the cheapest fuel in the country. Unleaded is at 86.4 cents a litre today. Costco's fuel is around 77 cents a litre. So these are prices that we haven't seen for about 20 years. And with the price of oil in the US turning negative for the first time in history, that downward trend will continue. The Premier is confident that we will see that flow-on effect here in WA.
The drop in fuel price should translate through to every motorist across Western Australia and across Australia, and I expect it will.
The average price of fuel will go up by 23 cents a litre in line with the weekly fuel cycle. So the advice from Fuel Watch is to fill up tonight if you can. Then we are likely to see another drop in petrol prices in the next week or two. Monica.
Welcome relief for Perth motorists. Thanks, Lee. Rumours are running rife tonight that North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un is gravely ill, even potentially brain dead. The explosive reports came out of the US, but sources in South Korea are denying the claims.
This is the last time Kim Jong-un was seen in public 10 days ago at a meeting with his political party, giving orders, taking notes and seemingly in good health. But today,
we have breaking news. It's out of North Korea.
Reports he's on the brink of death.
A U.S. official with direct knowledge tells me that the U.S. is now monitoring intelligence that Kim Jong-un's health is in grave danger. This is following a recent surgery.
Another report claims Chairman Kim had heart surgery on April 12, which is why he was missing from celebrations to mark his late grandfather's birthday 3 days later.
The North Korean leaders have not shown up for stuff in the past, and then people say, oh my God, maybe they're sick, and then they show up like a week later. Sometimes I feel like the North Koreans troll us. They actually do this on purpose.
And so far, the South Koreans say they haven't detected any unusual activity.
So until these facts are more clearly determined, there's not really much I can offer.
Propaganda videos portray the 36-year-old as active and battle-ready, but experts say it's all for show.
Kim's health is not particularly good, right? And you can see that just by looking at him, right? I mean, he's pretty gravely obese. It's well known that he doesn't really exercise. He smokes a great deal.
But if he is sick or dying, who would take power? When his father, Kim Jong-il, and grandfather, Kim Il-sung, died, there was a clear line of succession. That's not the case now.
Who's got control over the nuclear weapons? Who's got control over the missiles?
It's rumoured he has a 5-year-old son. And then there's his sister, Kim Yo-jong, recently promoted and his representative at the Seoul Olympics.
If indeed there has been a health crisis with the North Korean leader, I anticipate they're right now working to kind of stabilise things internally and come up with their own messaging.
But for now, the world's most secretive country isn't saying a word. Daniel Sutton for 10 News First.
A woman has narrowly avoided death after a horror pursuit crash overnight. The chase lasted just seconds before the driver lost control and slammed into a power pole.
A mangled wreck, all that's left after a high-speed crash overnight. The woman behind the wheel lost control while trying to outrun police. The car smashed into a power pole, sending sparks flying into the front yard of this Kenwick home. Residents on Wannaping Road were woken by the sound of the crash around 9:30 last night.
Very scary, very scary.
The driver, a woman in her early 20s, survived but was badly injured. She was rushed to Royal Perth Hospital, where she remains in a serious condition. Police say she's lucky to be alive. The main impact missing the driver's seat by mere centimetres. The chase itself lasted just seconds. It's understood the driver sped away from police at the top of the street, but they only made it around 100 metres before they lost control and the car slammed into this pole. The crash caused power outages along the street. Crews from Western Power spent this morning fixing the damaged pole. Police are yet to lay charges. Anyone who witnessed the crash is asked to come forward. Claire Durl for 10 News First.
Lloyd Rainey's legal career has come to an end after being struck off as a lawyer. Mr Rainey has spent years fighting to continue practising after being cleared of his wife Corin's murder, but he was found guilty of professional misconduct in 2018 for secretly recording her conversations. The full bench of the Supreme Court today announced the high-profile barrister is no longer allowed to practice law. Perth lawyer Terry Dobson will fight allegations of disorderly behaviour in public following an incident in Claremont last month. He's also charged with making threats to injure. Mr Dobson and his son, who's also been charged over the incident, face a trial allocation hearing on June 30. A young man has faced court charged over a tragic boat crash in Mandurah in February. Amelia Simpson has the details.
Monika, this was Kyle James Hardigan's first court appearance over the deadly boat crash. It's alleged the 25-year-old was intoxicated at the time of the accident, which claimed the life of 35-year-old Daniel Lloyd. Police say the two were flung off a 4.7-metre boat skippered by Mr Hardigan when it hit a channel marker in the Peel Inlet in the early hours of February 7. A nearby vessel managed to pull them from the water, but nothing could be done to save Mr Lloyd, who suffered head injuries in the crash. At the time, his heartbroken family spoke out, calling on any witnesses to come forward. But it wasn't until last week. Police laid several charges against Mr Hardigan, including culpable driving, causing death or grievous bodily harm. Today, his lawyer asked for his bail conditions to be amended, allowing the FIFO worker to be excused from coming to court if he's working away. Anything you'd like to say? Monika, the 25-year-old is due to face court again in June.
Time now to get an early look at Tuesday night sport. And Tim, you have our two AFL coaches tonight.
That I do, that we do. Justin Longmuir and Adam Simpson on things. Hubs, isolation and a restart date. The Dockers and Eagles coach headlines sport. Also tonight, the Western Bulldogs dish out the punishment to Lockie Hunter after some late night lunacy. And Freo docker Sean Darcy admits to struggling for motivation. That wasn't until his mum and dad stepped in. Monday night sport's big, but Tuesday night outstanding.
Mum and dads do a good job stepping in, don't they? Getting the kids to do all the chores around the house. After the break on 10. Loact, an elderly Perth man allegedly spat on in an unprovoked attack. And Malcolm Turnbull unloads on his former colleagues in a tell-all interview.
Jock used to be my boss and he taught me so much. So to get this right is just really, really important.
Laura's about to be put to the test by her ex-boss.
This is my food from my restaurant. This means something to me.
All I can think of is how simple it looks, but it's absolute perfection.
Laura, let's do it.
Survive elimination. 7:30 tonight.
Transform your home with Australian-made furniture at Harvey Norman. Our comprehensive range features quality choices that you can customise to suit your space. Lounges built for family life with options in fabric, leather, size and shape. Dining furniture made to fit your space featuring stunning Australian timbers. Trusted Australian-made brands in mattresses and ensembles. Bedroom furniture created to suit your style and especially for kids. The latest innovative designs at competitive prices with options to customise to suit your space. Discover the best of Australian-made furniture now at Harvey Norman.
Go! We know how important our weekly specials are to your shop. So in our online catalogue or app, you'll find even more specials this week. Like Omo Regular 2 kilogram or 2 litre, now $11. That's half price. We want you to always get your Woolies worth. When was the last time you washed your hands? Go on. In 20 seconds, you can help reduce the spread of infection. We don't care which soap you use. We care that you care. For you and for all. Dove.
Feed the family with Hungry Jack's new family bundle. Treat yourself with 2 Whoppers, 2 cheeseburgers, 4 small chips, 4 Cokes, 10 nuggets and sauce, only $24.95. Get takeaway, drive-through or delivery at Hungry Jack's.
With over 31,000 flat batteries a year and over 16,000 lockouts, we help a lot of members get moving. Plus members save 10% on batteries. That's the power of membership. RAC Roadside Assistance. For the better.
Monikka, for lovers of coffee.
Quit having to hide from your kids. Quit the expense. Quit coughing. Quit running out of breath. Quit always saying you're going to quit. Quit smoking and you quit all the crap that goes with it. You quit, you win.
Lockdown love is in the air.
Nice to meet you.
Ramsey!
Your husband!
Your husband's here. First day after MasterChef.
Hello there. There's been a lot of talk about the collapse in the oil market in the US. The price of a barrel of West Texas Intermediate, the benchmark for US oil, plunged overnight to as low as minus $37.63, which essentially means sellers were paying buyers $37 to take the oil off their hands. Why? Storage. The lack of it and the cost of it. Coronavirus restrictions significantly reducing demand because, in short, no one is driving or flying much, plus a glut in production has storage facilities in the US nearly full. Now, will that bring down Australian petrol prices even further? Analysts say no, not by a huge amount. This is largely a US storage problem. We price our oil from elsewhere and we have room to stockpile it for now. The upheaval impacted our share market early. It was energy stocks that pulled it down, but the big plunge just before the close followed a speech by the Reserve Bank Governor about how very difficult the next few months will be for the Australian economy. Qantas shares jumped as Virgin Australia went into administration before closing exactly where they started. And one of the country's largest private health providers still traded lower despite the government lifting restrictions on elective surgery. A quick look at the dollar. It's down to around 63 US cents. And that's finance.
Mount Pleasant residents have been left shocked by an alleged spitting attack on a partially deaf man as he exercised. The police dog squad was called in and found the accused culprit hiding at a nearby cafe. Brendan Crew has more.
Well, Monika, the 77-year-old partially deaf man was exercising here on the Mount Pleasant foreshore when police say a stranger started abusing him and then spat on him in what's being described as an unprovoked attack. It happened around 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. Police say the victim was left shaken by the confrontation. Witnesses say the 24-year-old man went on to pick fights with other people in the area. When officers arrived, police dog Utah managed to track down the man hiding near a cafe at Deepwater Point. He was taken into custody and has fronted court on an assault charge. Today, Mount Pleasant residents say they're surprised by the alleged attack.
Very out of character for around here. We come down here a few times a week walking in the morning.
No, we've never seen anything untoward at all. It's very surprising.
Monika, police say the 77-year-old victim wasn't seriously injured and is recovering from this confrontation. The accused was refused bail and will face court again next week.
Former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull's unloaded on his former colleagues in an explosive interview, but those he attacked hit back today, calling his new book a work of fiction.
A non-fiction novel that reads more like a drama, spilling over the pages and into real life. But tonight, as Malcolm Turnbull tells The Project, he makes no apologies for hurt feelings.
I'm out of politics. But obviously, I'm a citizen. I'm entitled to have views on issues, and I'm entitled to write a book. In fact, it'd be pretty odd if I didn't.
When you author your own history, you get to cast the villains, and Malcolm Turnbull's couldn't be clearer.
If Dutton had become leader, not even Bill Shorten could have lost the election. If Cormann had not betrayed me in the shocking way he did, the Dutton coup would have been over.
Malcolm has presented his version of history. It substantially differs from my very clear recollection of events, but I'm not going to get distracted.
Predecessor Tony Abbott was also in the firing line.
His whole style of government was erratic and flaky.
Some of his most scathing commentary was reserved for the former PM's relationship with Chief of Staff Peter Credlin.
I mean, Peter was running the country and she felt she owned him. It was a truly bizarre relationship.
Statements Mr Abbott described today as odious.
She was an important part of the Abbott government.
Mr Turnbull also blamed his demise on the right-wing media, accusing Rupert Murdoch and 2GB shock jocks of running a campaign against him.
Well, that's most probably true anyway. I mean, I was glad to see the back of him. It was hopeless. That's my job.
Successor Scott Morrison didn't escape unscathed.
Well, he is a lifelong political operator. And he is a control freak.
When Malcolm Turnbull announced the launch date for his book last year, he never could have imagined something like coronavirus taking hold. And while that has closed a number of bricks and mortar bookstores, his team says that online sales are doing particularly well. A number of shops have had to already reorder, and that it's the #1 selling book on Amazon after one day. But some aren't likely to be picking up a copy.
Well, on this issue, I'm just going to remain focused on the actual bigger picture.
At least he knows the title. Charlotte Goodlett for 10 News First.
You can catch the full interview with Malcolm Turnbull on The Project. Michael Schultz is here now with a look ahead to weather. We had a little bit of rain today.
Yes. Put the
little.
emphasis on the word little. 0.6 of a millimetre in the official Perth rain gauge. That gives us 8.6 millimetres for the month. Well short of the average. That's 37.2 millimetres. I thought I'd show you the numbers from around the metropolitan area, even though they're not particularly high. There was 4 millimetres at one of the Jarrahdale gauges, 3 millimetres at Roleystone and at Dwellingup. That was the highest. And 0.4 of a millimetre made it up to Moondabrook and inland to Gidgegannup. 24.5 was the maximum in the city. The overnight minimum was 15.1. The range around the metropolitan area, 26 at Northam, at Lancelin, Bullsbrook and in the Swan Valley. 21 was the lowest close to Perth at Bickley, Carnot and Dwellingup. In fact, that was the lowest in the state today too. It was also reported at Cape Lewin and Witchcliffe. Highest maximum was 41 at Mandora and Fitzroy Crossing. Cold this morning at Ayr, 5 degrees. See you with the forecast soon.
Speak to you then. Ahead on 10 News. No fanfare as the Queen marks her 94th birthday in royal lockdown. And see the incredible light show thanking China's healthcare workers.
When are you due?
Early June.
Same.
Can't wait for our babies to meet.
You know that.
He's not here. Not here. Someone has taken my baby.
We've got secrets. We've done bad things.
We got him. Come on, let's go!
Drop your weapon! Boys!
She's got my baby!
The Secret She Keeps premieres tomorrow after MasterChef.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, plus unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. Together, we're different. Belong.
Getting reliable, accurate information has never been more important. Now, for just $1 a day for 8 weeks, you can have the newspaper delivered every day and get full digital access to our website, The West Australian.
With Light and Easy, you can still enjoy a huge variety of delicious, healthy meals in the comfort and safety of your home, thanks to their chefs and dietitians and their contactless delivery service. In fact, Light and Easy has recently been rated Australia's #1 healthy meal delivery service, scoring 5 stars for customer satisfaction, as well as taste, variety and freshness, all things you'll find on their autumn menu. Enjoy delicious, healthy meals with Light and Easy's contactless, award-winning delivery. Order today.
Did you do this? If you're moving and want a great gas deal, just call Alinta Energy.
Right now, it's time to stay home. But don't ever stop dreaming of your next adventure. Because even though we're home for now, it won't be forever.
With RAC, we've got everything under the one roof to look after you and your car, like getting a loan for a new or used car, then keeping it on the road. If you need new tyres or a new battery, we'll be there. We're also here for car insurance, and we'll come to your rescue. Doing more for you and your car, plus giving you great everyday savings? That's the power of membership. RAC, for the better.
At Domino's, our first priority is the health and safety of our team members and customers. That's why we are now offering zero contact delivery, so you can get any large pizza from $15 delivered with total peace of mind.
Even though we need to stay inside, we can still keep moving. Even when you're not outside, you can still move like you are. Because even when spaces are limited, you can still move without limits.
Coronavirus is changing the way we live, work and communicate. Changes can be hard, so it's vital to take care of ourselves and others. Prioritising your mental health is important. To help, there are some things you can do, like eating well, keeping active, talking with family, friends and neighbours via phone or video calls, and making a new daily routine. Together, we can help stop the spread and stay healthy. Visit australia.gov.au to learn more. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Can Laura survive elimination? 7:30 tonight.
Welcome back. The Queen is marking her 94th birthday without any of the usual fanfare, making it clear she does not want to detract from the fight against COVID-19. But Meghan and Harry have made it back into the headlines, ramping up their fight against the British tabloids.
They've quit the royal family, fled the UK for North America, and now have delivered a blistering spray at 4 of Britain's biggest tabloid newspapers, cutting all contact because, in their words, they won't offer themselves up as currency for an economy of clickbait and distortion. At times, they say, with the most tragic outcomes, a reference perhaps to what happened to Harry's mother, Princess Diana, who was chased to her death by the paparazzi. The papers are calling it censorship and a tactical move ahead of a court case this week.
I think, unfortunately, what we have here are a rich and pretty powerful and important couple who don't like the criticism.
This might be how we see the couple from now on. Meghan promoting a Disney documentary she lent her voice to about elephants in a carefully crafted segment for American television.
I hope that when people see this film, they realise how connected we all are.
As the battle between Harry and Meghan and the tabloid press in the UK ramps up, today the Queen marks her 94th birthday. She's insisting there be no fuss or celebration as the world deals with COVID-19. The UK is still suffering unimaginable pain, with 16,500 hospital deaths so far from coronavirus, even more in nursing homes. Regardless of the outcome of the spat between Harry and Meghan and the newspapers they hate, it's clear there are bigger stories at play. Phoebe Bowden for 10 News First, London.
In the Canadian province of Nova Scotia, tributes are being paid to the victims of the country's worst ever mass shooting. A gunman dressed as a police officer shot dead at least 18 people during a 12-hour rampage. Authorities believe the shooter may have targeted the first victims before going on to attack randomly.
Relatively confident we've identified all the crime scenes. However, we've been unable to fully examine the crime scenes because, for instance, we have had 5 structure fires, most of those being residences, and we believe there may be victims still within the remains of those homes.
The motive of the gunman, 51-year-old Gabriel Wortman, is not known. China has gone to new heights to thank its medics, lighting up the night sky with a spectacular show put together using 300 drones. It was all to say thanks to those working on the front line in the fight against COVID-19, and it was a nice distraction for onlookers too. There's perhaps no more apt song for 2020 than Bob Dylan's The Times They Are A-Changin'. The lyrics to his classic hit are going up for sale and they're expected to fetch close to $3.5 million. That would make it a world record for rock lyrics. It's being sold by an anonymous private collector. Stay with us after the break. Major milestone. The Forestville Airport links breakthrough moment. And why are Perth veterans calling on us to take part in a new tradition this Anzac Day?
Can Laura survive elimination? 7:30 tonight.
If you're a small business, you've probably got a lot of questions right now, which is why you should speak to a professional accountant who's trained in planning and cash flow management strategies. For further support, contact a professional accountant today.
Meet the revolutionary Sleeping Duck mattress taking Australia by storm. It's the next generation mattress reimagined by aerospace engineers, making history. Choices best overall mattress 2 years in a row. That's Sleeping Duck, one giant leap for your sleep.
Olay was put to the ultimate MRI test. The MRI proved Olay intensely hydrates your skin for a plumper, firmer and more radiant glow. See the results in 28 days. Olay.
At ANZ, we're here to help you get on top of your money. So if you need a hand banking from home, support through the ups and downs of business, or to ease the pressures of your home loan, we're here and ready to help.
Are you living with mild joint or nerve pain? Caruso's Pain Analgesic for Joints to the rescue. Caruso's Pain Analgesic for Joints is a new alternative formula for the relief of mild nerve and joint pain, joint stiffness, joint inflammation and joint soreness. Caruso's Pain Analgesic for Joints comes with a money-back guarantee.
I would never put anything in my products that I wouldn't take myself or give to my family.
New Caruso's Pain Analgesic for Joints is available from selected pharmacies and health stores.
Every lotto ticket supports vital grants in WA.
And right now, all available profits from every ticket are going into Lottery West's COVID-19 Relief Fund,
helping to provide much-needed support for everyday West Aussies.
Show your support for WA.
All available profits from every ticket go to the COVID-19 Relief Fund. Show your support for WA. Search Play Lottery West or call us on 133 777.
Hey mate, sign here.
Sign here.
Fast track your shop with Repco Home Delivery.
Spending plenty of time at home this winter? Act now! Beat the rush! Don't be left out in the cold! Buy direct from Australia's largest manufacturer of gas log fires. Heaters starting at just $2,499. Illusion. Feel the fire. 147 Belmont Avenue, Belmont.
While we're all parked for a while, Lexus isn't. We're still committed to anticipating your needs. So we're here for you, because us putting you first and you counting on us is more important now than ever.
When headaches hold you back, try Nurofen Quicksorb. Its advanced formula absorbs quickly, relieving headaches fast. For quick, effective pain relief, choose Nurofen Quicksorb.
At Domino's, we're working hard to feed the front line of nurses and doctors and supermarket workers. We're playing our part to keep Australia safely fed. After all, we're all in this together.
Sam Pang's back Monday nights.
I'm not unhappy with that.
The new season returns to Mondays on 10.
The top stories here on 10 News First. Tens of thousands of jobs hang in the balance as Virgin Australia is placed into voluntary administration. But there is some hope, with investors already eyeing off the stricken airline. Elective surgeries are back on the table as the number of new COVID cases in the nation continue to fall. A female healthcare worker from Royal Perth Hospital is the only WA case recorded in the past 24 hours. And Perth's average petrol prices are the cheapest in the country, with unleaded today selling at 86.4 cents a litre. And it's set to get cheaper, with the price of oil in the US diving into negative territory for the first time in history. A woman's been charged with the attempted murder of her partner after a violent attack at the weekend. The victim was stabbed multiple times and suffered life-threatening injuries. Nathan Brooks has the details.
Monica Marina Rose Ashwin fronted Rockingham Magistrates Court this morning, charged with attempted murder. Detectives allege the 47-year-old stabbed a 51-year-old man multiple times inside this unit complex late on Sunday night. It's understood the woman is the victim's partner and that she was visiting him when a verbal fight escalated. The man received serious internal injuries and was rushed to Royal Perth Hospital for emergency surgery. Police say the 47-year-old left the scene in the victim's car. His Hyundai Getz was found dumped 4 kilometres away from the unit complex on Heffron Way in Parmelia. She was arrested within 2.5 hours of the alleged attack. Monica Marina Ashwin was remanded in custody. She'll be back in court next Wednesday.
After more than 900 days of work, tunnelling the Forestfield Airport link is finally complete. Boring machine Sandy broke through at Bayswater yesterday after tunnelling more than 16 kilometres. The project, which will link 3 new train stations to the existing rail network, had faced major delays caused by flooding and water leaks.
Great for construction, great for jobs. Great for once again demonstrating confidence in our state during this very, very difficult period.
The new line is set to be up and running by mid-next year. With dawn services and ceremonies cancelled across the country, many Australians are considering new ways to commemorate Anzac Day this year. Perth grandfather Richard Williams is one of the thousands of veterans who hope the sacrifice of our diggers isn't forgotten.
It's a time-honoured tradition steeped in history and sacrifice. But for Vietnam veteran Richard Williams, this year's Anzac Day March will look very different.
I'm hoping my neighbours will all be willing to get out of bed early and join me just at the end of the street where we can do a little service.
The Perth grandfather was called up the national service at just 21 and served in Vietnam for over a year. Now the president of the Vietnam Veterans Association, Richard has witnessed firsthand the human cost of war.
I come back with 2 arms and 2 legs and guess I thought I was okay. My mother said later in life that she noticed a change in me pretty much as soon as I got home. It took longer for it to come to the surface.
Richard's Anzac Day usually starts at 4 a.m. with a dawn service in Kings Park, followed by the traditional parade through the city, and doesn't finish until sundown. How's it looking for you this year?
Not quite as hectic.
He hopes Australians will still take the time to reflect at home despite the pandemic. The RSL providing online access to a recording of the last post to be played at driveway dawn services across the state.
As long as people remember the day and what it stands for. Yeah, it's something that I hope will never get forgotten in Australia.
As for the health workers on the front line of the war against COVID-19,
they're showing that Anzac spirit in what they're doing now. So yeah, they definitely deserve some recognition.
Claire Durl for 10 News First.
Sports next. Goss, it is back on the land for a Freo dogger.
Absolutely. Good story. This one, shifting cattle and spreading hay. That's part of his training regime from footy fast lane to farm lane. That story on the way. And we hear from Eagles coach Adam Simpson. Also back to basics for this Aussie surfer. Here is frank admission what went wrong as his career hit some serious backwash. And two tennis greats who struggle to return serve on social media. It makes for an ideal play of the day.
Former PM Malcolm Turnbull hits back at his critics tonight in The Project.
Jock used to be my boss and he taught me so much. So to get this right is just really, really important.
This is my food. This means something to me.
Can Laura survive elimination tonight?
JB's got the hottest deals to keep you connected. Get 15% off Samsung Galaxy S10 phones. Stay connected with this Lenovo Smart Display for $149 and this HP touchscreen laptop for $698. Buy in store, online click and collect or get it delivered. JB, you've done it again.
Save up to 10% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz home insurance policy online.
Okay, done.
Get that Allianz feeling. Search for a quote today.
When a cold disturbs your family's sleep, Vicks Vapor Rub relieves cough, nasal congestion, muscle aches and pains. They sleep, you sleep. Vicks Vapor Rub relieves 4 cough and cold symptoms.
I thought my teeth were clean, but my dentist said no, there's still plaque. Switch your brush from this to one with a rounded brush head.
Oral-B is rounded to reach between teeth and gums, gently removing plaque for healthier gums. Oral-B, brush like a pro.
Before you choose the bench tops and basins and the doors and the floors, think about the frame. House frames made with the inner strength of true core steel won't shrink, twist or warp over time. To find builders using true core steel, visit truecore.com.au.
This is Perth's internet. It moves along kind of okay until peak times when everyone's streaming, browsing and gaming. Then we have the worldwide wait as the traffic gets all buffer to buffer. We deserve better internet, Perth. So we created Pentanet. It's fixed wireless internet that flies straight to you at a super fast 120 megabits per second. For a summer without buffering, visit pentanet.com.au.
Every lotto ticket supports vital grants in WA.
And right now, all available profits from every ticket are going into Lottery West's COVID-19 relief fund.
Helping to provide much needed support for everyday West Aussies.
Show your support for WA.
All available profits from every ticket go to the COVID-19 Relief Fund. Show your support for WA. Search Play Lottery West or call us on 133 777.
Feed the family with Hungry Jack's new family bundle. Treat yourself with 2 Whoppers, 2 cheeseburgers, 4 small chips, 4 Cokes, 10 nuggets and sauce, only $24.95. Get takeaway, drive-through or delivery at Hungry Jack's.
Your local Bunnings is here to help with Drive and Collect. You can shop online for a huge range of emergency repairs and maintenance essentials and pick them up without getting out of your car. We want to make it easy to get what you need. It's like having Bunnings at your fingertips.
Take a moment to experience bliss. Smooth melting Lindor. Melt into a moment of bliss from Lindt.
Lockdown love is in the air.
Nice to meet you. Ramsey!
Your
husband!
Your husband's here. Thursday after MasterChef.
Well, in sport, everyone, the Western Bulldogs have dished out their punishment to talented midfielder Lockie Hunter after he smashed into 4 cars last week. Rob Waters has all the details.
Good evening. Well, Lockie Hunter has paid a heavy price for his transgressions from last Thursday night. He's already had a lengthy wait to play AFL football again in 2020. Well, now he's going to have to wait a further month because the Western Bulldogs have suspended him for 4 matches. They've fined him $5,000. He has a $15,000 suspended fine hanging over his head if he transgresses again. And he's lost the vice-captaincy, of course, and he's now out of the leadership group, and he'll have to undergo alcohol counselling. Here's Lockie Hunter talking for the first time.
I'm here to take full responsibility for what I did and the damages that I caused. I've obviously lost the respect of a lot of people over this time, and there's not a lot I can do about that right now. I can't control what I did, but I can control what I do from here. So I'll accept the sanctions given to me by the club today.
While there are clearly many pressures that people are facing in the current circumstances, including Lockie, that is no excuse for his behaviour.
Patrick Dangerfield, the AFL Players Association president, has had a big change of heart over playing in the quarantined hubs. A couple of weeks ago, he wasn't really keen on the idea, but today he says the hubs might be the only way we'll get some AFL football in 2020.
I don't see us flying, week to week, state to state. I just don't think that's going to be possible. So I think we're going to have to open our eyes to that possibility that, there's certain hubs around the state where that is. I have absolutely no idea.
And the decision by Virgin Airlines to go into voluntary administration will hit the AFL hard. Virgin is a major sponsor of the AFL. It's also their preferred carrier. And Virgin also sponsors Carlton, the Giants and the Gold Coast Suns. The sponsorship with Carlton is believed to be worth $2 million. So unfortunately, some more bad financial news for the AFL.
Good on you, Rob. Thanks for sticking around tonight. And a 4-match ban and $2,500 fine for Adelaide Crow Tyson Stengel for his drink driving incident. Stengel was stopped by police in Adelaide driving an unregistered car on April the 9th. He then recorded a blood alcohol level of 0.125. The club will donate Stengel's fine to charity and send him to a road safety education program. He'll also have to face court at a later date. No major developments on an AFL restart, and it's fair to say Eagles coach Adam Simpson isn't one for worrying about the possibles and probables. Lockie Reid explains.
The West Coast Eagles aren't wasting their energies on what might happen.
We haven't discussed it at all.
It's an attitude Adam Simpson has successfully used as Eagles coach, so why change now? He'll leave talk of quarantine hubs and how the rest of the season may unfold in the hands of power brokers.
We're really concentrating on just getting our players engaged and fit. We haven't been asked to give any assistance in that just yet, but it's probably coming in the next few weeks.
The Dockers are also being patient.
We've got 8 to 10 players that are interstate at the moment.
But Justin Longmuir is keen to get his players back on the field as soon as possible after that heartbreaking round 1 loss.
Something I've thought about for way too long. Usually it's a week between games and you can sort of get over that pretty quickly and move forward. Been dwelling on the first quarter, been dwelling on the last quarter, so it'd be nice to get out there and right some wrongs and continue that last quarter on.
His predecessor, Ross Lyon, providing a laugh in footy-starved tough times. Lyon's halftime roar at Matthew Pavlich early in his tenure as Dockers coach, a story worthy of a giggle.
At half-time we were down. I could just see the headlines. So I thought I'll start at the top. So I looked at Pav. I said, mate, you're pristine. Look at you. You've got a bead of sweat on you. Jumper's immaculate. Socks up, tucked in. I said, how about you? And Pav, to his credit, just went, yeah. I felt sick. I think we won by a kick. And then the footy operations manager come up after the game. He goes, Pav had a shower and changed and dressed at half-time.
Lockie Reid for 10 News First.
Dockers big man Sean Darcy isn't resting on his laurels without footy. The Victorian heading back to the family farm and working hard with the help of mum and dad.
On the land with Sean Darcy. The Docker retreating to the family farm near Cobden, Victoria, over 2 hours' drive from Melbourne. And it's fair to say the big fella is missing footy.
Yeah, I'm going insane. Mum was saying before, she's like, you really just need to hit something, don't you? I was like, yeah, I really want to get trained with the boys and go out and play on the weekends.
For the Freo ruckman, this has been no holiday. Dad Greg putting him to work with the cattle.
Yeah, we got beef cattle down here, so we're sitting on about 350 acres. with about 150 cows. On Monday, we had to sow a paddock for hay, so we had to spread out the hay. The cows have had calves, we've got to separate them. The mothers don't really like separating from their babies.
And while footy departments have been culled, Mum Anne-Marie has stepped up.
Oh, initially I was at the guys who didn't really have a routine, couldn't find motivation. Probably the first week, I sort of was speaking to my mum, and she was just like, I was like, oh, I think I've been a bit off last week, and she's like, yeah, I've noticed it. She's like, try to make a routine, try to have like 5-6 things you want to do for a day, and then try to tick them off. So she floated that idea, and I said, I think it's working a fair bit, so it's helped me out a lot mentally.
At their Coburn headquarters, the Dockers boast some of the best training facilities in the AFL, but farm life calls for a bit of improvisation.
It's a farm. You pull some trees down, that's a pretty good way to work for the day. We got a little pool out the back. I'm not sure if you can see it out there.
The time away from footy has let the big man's body heal back to 100% after pre-season ankle and shoulder injuries. Away from the hustle and bustle of Perth, the best place to be.
Yeah, exactly. Dad keeps saying it's the safest place in the world.
Footy's return still up in the air, but Darcy is hopeful of a return to training in coming weeks. And he thinks they'll have no trouble flicking the switch to get back into competition mode.
At the end of the year, someone's going to hold up a cup, so everyone should be striving for that.
Steve Allen for 10 News First.
Cricket Australia still hopes to host the 2020 World Cup, and India's tour down under this year. While health comes first, missing out on the World Cup would be a huge financial hit for international cricket.
We don't intend to put anyone's health at risk in this situation at all, be they Australians, be they incoming touring teams. What we're very conscious of is our responsibility on behalf of international cricket to do everything possible to stage the event.
Cricket Australia says it had no choice but to send home most of its staff on 20% pay, saying it has so far taken a $20 million hit on investments because of coronavirus. Australia's Julian Wilson is confident he can climb back up the world rankings when surfing's world tour resumes. After narrowly missing out on the world title in 2018, Wilson says he felt hungover last year as pressure and expectation took its toll.
Life on tour doesn't usually allow time to reflect and reset.
It's been nice to let things slow down and appreciate where I'm at and appreciate this time with my family.
Julian Wilson was about to embark on the busiest year of his career, taking his family, including New Bub River, on the road in search of a world title. Now instead,
teaching him how to sleep.
Wilson himself was barely out of nappies when he first had a board under his feet, on water and on wheels.
Yeah, I used to skate to the beach every afternoon after school with my surfboard under my arm. There was a skate park right on the beach. It was a way of life for me.
It's those memories that inspired him to chase a pipe dream.
Oh, incoming!
The Rail Project, a 3-year labour of love to create a floating skate park.
And I've just always dreamt of something like that coming to fruition, and I finally was able to achieve that, and I know I feel like it's the very start of it.
It's that ability to innovate that will drive Wilson's resurgence. After falling agonisingly short of the world title in 2018...
Julian Wilson hugging it out. Gabriel Medina, your 2018 world champion.
The pressure to back it up became too much.
I never really got to a place where I was super present last year. I felt fatigued. I felt kind of hungover from 2018 and just how much emotion went into that year.
Mentally, he's in a better place now and once again is ready to launch.
But yeah, times are different, that's for sure.
Katie Price for 10 News First.
Most would say no one connects better with a tennis ball than Rafa Nadal and Roger Federer. But as for a connection with each other on social media, that's a very different story.
Okay, one moment, guys, because I have Roger here.
All right, we're going to have to speed this up because it went on for 4.5 minutes before the iconic duo went head-to-head once again.
Finally.
Are we in? Did we make it?
Finally.
My God.
Oh, I don't know if it was you or me. How are you doing?
Fellow Grand Slam champs Stan Wawrinka and Andy Murray were just a couple to comment and make fun of the pair. While we hope Roger and Rafa are better at social distancing than social media, we will still give them their virtual face-off our play of the day. More from disgraced Bulldog Lockie Hunter, and 6 people are locked up in Adelaide so they can have a big moment in a couple of weeks' time. That's coming up after 6.
That was like us with social media. Me, I should say. But they're not even
Do you
over
own
50.
a phone?
They're not even over 50. Oh, come on. If you enjoyed today's weather, more of the same is on the way.
Hello?
Michael Schultz has details next.
Comedian Kitty Flanagan joins us for a laugh tonight, 6:30.
Jock used to be my boss and he taught me so much. So to get this right is really, really important.
This is my food. This means something to me.
Can Laura survive elimination tonight?
At Domino's, we've introduced a number of measures to improve our safety. Our zero-contact delivery means that you can get a tasty meal safely delivered without ever having to leave your home in search of other options. We've also been working hard to feed the front line of doctors and nurses and supermarket workers. We're playing our part to keep Australians safely fed. After all, we're all in this together.
Even though we need to stay inside, we can still keep moving. Even when you're not outside, you can still move like you are. Because even when spaces are limited, you can still move without limits.
Here's something extra from Hyundai. Right now, across Hyundai's petrol and diesel SUV range, get a generous cash back on the SUV style, performance and safety features you need. Because right now, we know a little goes a long way.
From family night to date night to night night, with free delivery for purchases over $2,000. Furniture Bazaar has furniture for every life. Search Furniture Bazaar.
Quit having to hide from your kids. Quit the expense. Quit coughing. Quit running out of breath. Quit always saying you're going to quit. Quit smoking and you quit all the crap that goes with it. You quit, you win.
When it comes to any property, it's what's inside that counts. We understand that the true value of any home is the life inside.
Don't you just love settling in with a good book? Let's be real, life often gets in the way of reading.
That's where Audible comes in.
Audible is excellent for unwinding in bed with a cuppa.
I might just be an average bloke, but trust me, Audible really takes the hassle out of housework.
Audible. With over 400,000 audiobooks, it's books that fit with real life.
Download now and get your first audiobook free.
In 1 week, a lot will happen in your life. Who has time for wrinkles? Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair's derm-proven retinol works so fast, it takes only 1 week to reveal younger-looking skin. Neutrogena.
Keep running, training, walking, keep working. The Athlete's Foot gives a fit about helping you stay you safely. Find your perfect fit from our range of brands at theathletesfoot.com.au. The Athlete's Foot, here to give a fit.
When are you due?
Early June.
Same.
I can't wait for our babies to meet.
You know that.
He's not here. Not here. Someone has taken my baby.
We've got secrets. We've done bad things.
We got him. Come on, let's go!
Drop your weapon! Police! She's got my baby!
The secrets she keeps on 10. Premieres tomorrow after MasterChef.
Hello there, I hope you enjoyed today because you're getting an almost exact day again tomorrow. Another weak cold front will be moving through, so we have the chance of picking up a light shower over the next 24 hours. But the numbers this morning weren't that special. Here are the rainfall totals since this time last night. Perth had 0.6 of a millimetre. The total for the month is only 8.6 millimetres. The average is over 37, so we're well behind. The best falls down to the south, 4 millimetres at one of the Jarrahdale gauges, 3 millimetres at Dwellingup and a couple at Bickley. 24.5 was the maximum. That was at 13 minutes to 2 this afternoon. The overnight minimum 15.1 at 4 to 7 this morning. It's back to 21. The winds in west-northwesterly at 4 kilometres an hour. Barometer 1,015.5 hectopascals. It's been falling slightly and the relative humidity 58%. Daytime temperatures, there were some low ones, including 21 degrees at Bickley, Carnot and Dwellingup. It reached 26 at Northam, Lancelin, Bullsbrook and in the Swan Valley. 21 was the lowest maximum, in fact, in the state today. Outside the metropolitan area was recorded in the far southwest at Cape Leeuwin and Witchcliffe. Lowest overnight temperature was 5.5 at Ayr on the Eucla coast, and the highest maximum today was 41. That was recorded at Mandorah and at Fitzroy Crossing. Cape Naturalist, Wokalup and Newlands had the most rain in the state in the 24 hours up until 9 o'clock this morning, and that was only 4 millimetres. And on the series of satellite photographs, you can see that band of cloud across the northwest through the Gascoyne and interior that's produced some light falls, but all of them have been under 1 millimetre. And you can see the fronts are a fair way to the south of the state, so we're only seeing the tail of them reach the southwest corner. On the chart, you can see we've got another one moving up for tomorrow. So a strong wind warning remains in place for the south coast from Cape Leeuwin across to Bremer Bay. But with the ridge of high pressure through central parts of the state and that trough inland, light winds are expected over most areas. The rainfall showers are likely once again, same areas today, southwest of a line from Lancelin to Bremer Bay. They're more likely near the coast, and the better falls will be down towards the southwest corner once again. There is just the chance of some isolated shower and thunderstorm activity from that cloud band still going through the north of the state. That's for the northern parts of the Goldfields, the northeast of the Gascoyne and the southern interior and the Eucla. Major centres tomorrow, a fair bit of sunshine across the northern half of the state, but Bunbury could get 2 millimetres of rain. Albany maybe 1 millimetre from a shower or two. Should be partly cloudy in Esperance and in Geraldton. 41 expected in Port Hedland. The temperatures around the nation tomorrow are going to be cool in the southeast. Hobart's expecting a top of 15 degrees. It's going to be windy with some showers there. Melbourne should be cloudy. Adelaide partly cloudy. Cairns could get a shower or two, and the others should be mostly sunny. West to northwesterlies on local waters of 15 to 20 knots will go west to southwesterly in the afternoon and ease a bit. The southwesterly swell between 2 and 3 metres. High tide is at 24 minutes to 10 tomorrow morning. That's a little under 1.1 metres. The low tide under 0.8 of a metre at 10 past 4 tomorrow afternoon. Sunrise at 13 minutes to 6. Cloudy for Perth with a slight chance of a shower. If we get a shower tomorrow, it should produce less than 0.4 of a millimetre. The winds will be light to moderate westerlies, heading down to 15 once again tonight, and tomorrow's maximum close to today's maximum, 24. 24 again on Thursday and partly cloudy. Friday partly cloudy up to 25 degrees. Saturday partly cloudy, 24 degrees. And on Sunday it should be mostly sunny with a top of 24. Monday should be mostly sunny also with a top of 24.
16,000 jobs hang in the balance tonight after Virgin Australia went into voluntary administration. Potential buyers are already lining up, but it's little comfort for families who could be left in limbo.
They've spent a career flying high with Virgin, and now their future is up in the air indefinitely.
12 years I've been working for this company. I don't want to let it go.
Darren's been homeschooling his daughter since the lockdown. Today, she learned a lesson about the human cost of an airline in meltdown.
It's everyone's jobs, it's houses, it's cars, it's, as you said before, it's people's mental health. I'm just glad I got the kids so they can get us through and just see what comes on the other side of this.
Darren's wife also works in aviation. And
what do you want to be when you grow up, Farah?
I want to be a pilot.
While the Virgin staff face an uncertain future, they're being inundated with questions from customers about flights and frequent flyer points. And the main answers to those questions are that all flights will go ahead as scheduled, and you also do still have your velocity points, but there has been a pause placed on your ability to access them.
And that's really important. Those points for those members are preserved. They've not been lost.
All Virgin Australia lounge memberships will be suspended for at least 6 months. All flight vouchers remain valid.
We're operating a minimum domestic network as we speak, and those credits can be used on that network and can be used at any point in the future.
There's less certainty for Darren and 16,000 of his colleagues. In the meantime, COVID chaos has created another very important job.
He needs to be a smart teacher.
He'll certainly be coming from the School of Hard Knocks. Natasha Exelby for 10 News First.
WA has recorded just a single new COVID case in the last 24 hours in what the Premier has described as an extremely good result. The numbers are so pleasing, the Prime Minister has announced it's now safe for some elective surgeries to resume.
After weeks of wards left sitting empty, our hospitals are ready to get back to business.
It's testing their patients, we understand that.
The PM says it's now safe for our hospitals to recommence Category 2 elective surgeries from next week.
These consistently low numbers have allowed us to better prepare and better plan. And it's also what has led us to consider the resumption of elective surgery.
What we will do is, with the hospitals and the clinicians, the treating clinicians, is work through the patients who were cancelled and who are of the highest priority.
It includes thousands of surgical procedures, from IVF to screening, reconstructive procedures, paediatrics, joint replacements, cataracts and eye surgeries, along with endoscopy and colonoscopies. Despite the backlog, patients are being asked not to call hospitals looking to be rescheduled.
It doesn't help anyone if our public hospital switchboards are flooded with calls. In fact, it may delay their ability to contact patients in a timely fashion.
But we'll work through this on individual site basis to see where our largest pressures are.
Also of concern is the restrictions on aged care homes, with reports some have gone too far by banning visitors altogether.
For those who have parents in an aged care facility, not to be able to see them in their last months or years of life is devastating.
The Premier insists the rules haven't changed, reminding aged care providers that all residents are allowed 2 visitors each day. It comes as WA recorded just one new COVID case in the last 24 hours, a female healthcare worker from Royal Perth Hospital.
She did not attend work with symptoms, and contact tracing will ensure any close contacts are notified, provided with health advice and told to self-isolate.
She takes our total to 546, but the majority have now recovered, with WA now having less than 100 active cases and just 5 are in intensive care.
We're all in this together, and together we will get through.
Natalie Forrest for 10 News First.
Donald Trump has announced he'll be suspending all immigration to the United States amid the coronavirus crisis. It's the president's most wide-ranging attempt yet to cut off his country from the rest of the world.
At the President's daily press briefing...
Thank you very much, everyone.
There was no hint of the bombshell that he was about to drop on Twitter just a few hours later. In light of the attack from the invisible enemy, as well as the need to protect jobs, I will be signing an executive order to temporarily suspend immigration into the United States. The extraordinary use of executive power will likely be challenged in the courts, but it'll also satisfy the president's anti-immigration base in the lead-up to November's election. A third of America's immigrants come from Mexico.
The President of the United States calls the shots.
And while only a few thousand Australians will be affected, for them it now means a life in limbo. There's no indication on how long it'll last. It was a day of firsts on the stock market too, when the price of crude oil went negative for the first time. Oil companies have got too much of it and not enough storage space, so they're paying buyers to take it from them.
Demand for crude in the US is not going to pick up until we start seeing people driving and flying.
While Americans are staying off the roads, more are taking to the streets to protest against the lockdown measures. In Ohio, they brought prayers and machine guns. Here in New York, 478 people died overnight, the lowest death toll in 2 weeks. And today, New York State began an aggressive antibody testing scheme so people can tell if they've already had the virus. But the tests aren't 100% reliable.
Even a very small false positive rate could lead to hundreds of thousands of people being told that they're safe when they might not be.
Proving just how hard beating this virus will be. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, New York.
Intelligence agencies are attempting to verify reports North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un is gravely ill. He was last seen in public 10 days ago at a political party meeting and missed an important public holiday to mark his late grandfather's birthday. Reports have emerged that his health has significantly deteriorated after heart surgery last week and he could be close to death. But the South Koreans so far haven't detected any unusual activity from within the secretive country. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have cut all contact with Britain's tabloids. In a letter to the paper's editors, Harry and Meghan say they wouldn't offer themselves up as a currency for an economy or clickbait and distortion.
I think it's disingenuous to say that those papers tell lies. There might be on some occasions where they may have actually to make a correction, but these are very few and far between.
Meanwhile, the Queen is marking her 94th birthday without any of the usual fanfare amid Britain's COVID-19 crisis. The outbreak has killed more than 16,500 people in the UK. Her drivers avoided being killed when a police chase ended in a horrific crash. It's alleged the woman tried to outrun police and lost control just 30 seconds later on Wanaping Road in Kenwick last night. Sparks were sent flying when the car hit the curb and slammed into a power pole. The driver in her 20s survived but was badly injured and was rushed to Royal Perth Hospital, where she remains in a serious condition. A 25-year-old skipper has faced court over a tragic boat crash in February. It's alleged Carl James Hartigan was intoxicated when the 4.7-metre vessel hit a channel marker in the Peel Inlet and threw him and his passenger overboard. 35-year-old Daniel Lloyd died at the scene. In court today, Mr Hartigan's bail conditions were changed, excusing the FIFO worker from appearing in court if he's working away. He'll front court again in June. Hospital patients from around Australia will be among the first to take part in a trial of existing antiviral drugs to treat coronavirus. The medications are already showing promising results in the lab, but they need to put them to the test in humans.
With no vaccine, researchers around the world are racing to find an effective treatment for coronavirus. And Australia is again at the forefront of those efforts, with hospitals here and in New Zealand starting to recruit patients for a study into 2 existing drugs.
So the study is looking at patients who come into hospital with COVID-19, but who aren't sick enough to be in the intensive care unit.
Lopinavir and ritonavir, previously used to treat HIV, and hydroxychloroquine, used to treat arthritis and malaria, have both worked in the treatment of coronavirus in the lab, but that's yet to be demonstrated in humans.
As new treatments become available or need to be tested, we can bring those into the kind of trial infrastructure.
The study will run for a year to 18 months and is being funded by a number of hospitals and philanthropic partners, including Anthony Pratt and Andrew Twiggy Forrest.
Researchers have hit one stumbling block, but it's a good problem to have. A drop in the number of coronavirus cases in Australia and New Zealand means at the moment there are fewer people able to join the study than they'd expected. So the trial is being widened to try to include patients in other countries, such as Singapore.
It's something like 300 clinical trials happening around the world. Our data can contribute to some of these global studies as well. So, nothing's going to be wasted as such.
A global effort for a global health crisis. Annie Kearney for 10 News First.
There's been a happy tale in the search for a 9-week-old puppy stolen from her backyard. Daisy the Labrador has been found safe and well, but who took her and why remains a mystery.
All tuckered out after a big adventure, the details of which Daisy's owners may never know.
I think one of the hardest things has been just not knowing what's happened to her, not knowing if she was safe and not knowing if she was being well looked after.
The 9-week-old Labrador was an early birthday present for Sophie, who turned 7 this week. But the Aussies had only had her for 8 days before the puppy was snatched from their backyard on Friday night.
We were shocked and confused and deeply upset that she was gone.
They scoured the neighbourhood, called police and offered a reward. And this morning their heartfelt pleas paid off. A neighbour found a puppy without a collar wandering alone in nearby Flemington.
But as soon as I rocked up at the house and she opened the door and the little face looked out at me, she jumped all over me and I knew straight away it was her.
The families had no word about who took her or why. For now, they're just happy she's home.
I completely understand that people are struggling at the moment, and maybe someone did something they wouldn't normally do. Maybe they were looking for some company. I don't know the story, but I really want to thank you for letting her come home.
After 4 days without her, they're not going to let Daisy out of their sights anytime soon. But for now, the family does have an extra special bond with this beautiful puppy.
Having had this slightly traumatic event early on, I think it's made us realise how special she is and how important she is to our families.
A happy ending to what could have been a devastating tale.
Oh, Daisy.
Georgia Love for 10 News First.
Goss is back with sports. Sam Walsh has had his say on the raising of the AFL playing age.
Monica, when you are the #1 draft pick and subsequent rising star, then it's a topic right in your wheelhouse. Also more from banished dog Rocky Hunter, who cops his club punishment.
We catch up with former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull as his new memoir turns his former party colleagues into fierce critics.
At ANZ, we're here to help you get on top of your money. So if you need a hand banking from home, support through the ups and downs of business, or to ease the pressures of your home loan, we're here and ready to help.
I started going out with a guy called Terry, and everyone took an instant dislike to him, including me. Seriously, it only took about 3 seconds to work out how deeply unpleasant, screwed up and angry he was. I went out with him for a year.
At Bunnings, we're here to help with some simple craft projects you can do while you're at home.
You'll find plenty of stuff to keep the kids entertained.
You can shop online, order the essentials you need, and we'll bundle it up for you. It's like having the warehouse at your fingertips.
Head to Macca's fast, safe, contact-free drive-thru to pick up more of your favourites in our best ever value range, like a $4 McFlurry or a $2 small fries. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, plus unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. Together, we're different. Belong.
Glen 20 has been helping to protect Aussies for generations. But we're not the only ones. Meals on Wheels protect our most vulnerable every day. You see, they're much more than just food delivery. They offer wellness support and a connection to the community, an invaluable service that's needed now more than ever. So to help them protect the people who need them, we're offering our support. And we're asking for your support too.
Join AHM Hospital and Extras Direct and you'll get 6 weeks free. Plus, we'll waive any 2 and 6 month waits on extras. Yay! Whether you're a single, a couple, or a family. It's that simple. That doesn't look very simple. Offer ends June 30. Find out more and join AHM Direct today. AHM, the simple bit.
As coronavirus continues, it's vital that we support our older Australians. So keep in contact regularly with older neighbours, friends or family. Set them up to use technology, then plan a regular time to connect. Cook a meal and leave it at their front door, or offer to run errands. You could drop a note in their mailbox or chat over the fence. Together, we can help stop the spread and stay healthy. To find out more, visit australia.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Jock used to be my boss and he taught me so much. So to get this right is really, really important.
This is my food. This means something to me.
Can Laura survive elimination tonight?
Western Bulldog Lockie Hunter has been suspended by the club for 4 games, fined $5,000 with another $15,000 suspended, lost the vice-captaincy and will need to pay the cost of 4 damaged cars. This is what Hunter had to say this afternoon after the Dogs handed out the punishment.
I'm here to take full responsibility for what I did and the damages that I caused. It's never responsible to get behind the wheel after you've had a drink, so drink driving is clearly not acceptable. I've obviously lost the respect of a lot of people over this time, and there's not a lot I can do about that right now. I can't control what I did, but I can control what I do from here. So I'll accept the sanctions given to me by the club today. It's obviously going to hurt a lot watching my teammates run out without me there, and knowing that I caused that myself. I will have that date circled in my calendar when I'm allowed to get back out there with my teammates.
Carlton Rising star Sam Walsh says there's no need to meddle with the draft age. The former #1 pick says selecting players at 18 is the best way to develop young talent.
The balance of school and footy gave me great structure, and I feel if you push that age back, then a lot of people would lose their way. Even if you didn't want to go to uni and you wanted to get a trade, well, I don't think too many people are going to be putting you on as a 1-year apprentice knowing you're going to get drafted the next year.
Walsh says teammate Charlie Curnow is feeling frustrated after another setback on his knee that's likely to prevent him from playing this season. While COVID-19 restrictions have stopped most sports, the racing, trots and greyhound industry continue. Tonight, a story of 6 young Victorian jockeys who have taken a punt to ride in the richest horse race in South Australia next month's Goodwood Handicap.
A quick gallop around the track this morning is the perfect therapy after 2 weeks in isolation.
I had a bit of a routine set up, have breakfast, do a bit of an hour of exercise or so, and cook dinner at 4:30. There's really nothing else you can really do.
Georgina Cartwright is one of a group of Victorian jockeys eyeing the riches on offer during the Adelaide Autumn Carnival.
If I was in Victoria, I'd probably never get the opportunity to, just because it is very competitive there, whereas here they're big fields and limited amount of jockeys, so you're more of a chance of getting on one.
4 Group 1 races and over $4 million prize money is usually enough to entice the nation's top jockeys, but travel restrictions have seen many stay home, leaving some big rides up for grabs.
The big stables are bringing the horse across and they get to ride for them, which they wouldn't normally be doing that. You know, a big jockey from Sydney or Melbourne would come down and ride them, so it's a feather in their cap.
Local hope G-Tra looms as favourite in the state's richest race. The 4-year-old hasn't missed a place since last year's Goodwood.
It's all over bar the shouting. G-Tra by 3.5 to Sunlight.
I'd love to ride G-Tra. I think anyone would love to ride him, but obviously Jason Holder's got the ride on him, so I'll be trying my best to try and get a ride in it.
The geldings owners hope the race will provide a springboard to the $14 million Everest in October.
To just get in there is one thing, and because it's enormous money and it's enormous prestige, so it means heaps.
Jace Kemp for 10 News First.
Most would say no one connects better with a tennis ball than Rafa Nadal and Roger Federer, but as for connection with each other on social media, well, that's a very different story.
Okay, one moment, guys, because I have Roger here.
All right, we're going to have to speed this little thing up because it went on for 4.5 minutes, all this caper, before the iconic duo went head-to-head once again.
Finally.
Are we in? Did we make it?
Finally.
My God. Oh, I don't know if it was you or me. How are you doing?
Fellow Grand Slam champs Stan Wawrinka and Andy Murray were just a couple to comment and make fun of the old pair. While we hope Roger and Rafa are better at social distancing than social media, we will still give their virtual face-off our play of the day. Tomorrow night we'll catch up with West Coast Eagle Liam Duggan. And remember last night I mentioned that we're hearing stories about Damien Martin retiring this week?
Yes.
Not true.
Not true? Oh, that's good news.
No, well...
Looking forward to hearing more.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Michael Schultz has weather after the break.
He might retire, but not this week.
Jock used to be my boss and he taught me so much. So to get this right is just really, really important.
Laura's about to be put to the test by her ex-boss.
This is my food from my restaurant. This means something to me.
Well, I can think of is how simple it looks, but it's absolute perfection.
Laura, let's do it.
Can Laura survive elimination? 7:30 tonight.
Hester is a super fund that supports people whose work helps others. Their stories inspire us to give them a stronger financial future and a better world to retire into. It's our way of saying thank you.
At Macca's, cleanliness is our priority, ensuring we keep our team and the community safe. You can still get your favourites and essential items contact-free. Thanks to all our teams across Australia, we'll be here.
Wish you had internet that didn't let you down? That doesn't leave you hanging and won't have you missing any of the action? Get Vodafone NBN with 4G backup. Plans start from just $65 a month. And with free express delivery, connect instantly once you receive it. Buy online today at vodafone.com.au. Ready?
What happens to all the dirt on your dishes? It flows in your dishwasher, affecting its cleaning performance. Add Finish In-Wash Dishwasher Cleaner, the only one that cleans your dishwasher while it cleans your dishes. Try Finish In-Wash Dishwasher Cleaner today.
From family night to date night to night night, with free delivery for purchases over $2,000. Furniture Bazaar has furniture for every life. Search Furniture Bazaar.
At Bunnings, we're here to help with some simple projects you can do while you're at home. Like sorting out your wardrobe storage. You can shop online, order what you need, and we'll bundle it up for you. It's like having the warehouse at your fingertips.
Infused oil deluxe crisps from Red Rock Deli.
Bring on the dirtiness, muddiness, sauciness.
And how did that get under theiriness? Because with a great range of cleaning solutions, Godfrey's gives you cleanliness.
If dry or flaky skin is causing you frustration and embarrassment, try E45 cream. It soothes and relieves by creating an effective barrier to protect against skin dryness. Feel comfortable in your skin. Switch to E45.
Hi, Grandpa.
Are you ready?
Yes.
In the green rolling hills.
It's more important than ever to stay close. And you can with an extra 25 gigs of mobile data. Register via My Telstra app by 30th of June.
Up next, he's the Prime Minister who turned on his own party. So what does Malcolm Turnbull make of those now lining up to attack him? Virgin Australia on its knees, what it means for thousands of Aussie jobs and the future of travel in post-pandemic skies. And we check in with comedian Kitty Flanagan to see how she's coping this week in self-isolation. The Project next.
Hello there. There's been a few light showers around the lower west coast today and adjoining inland areas. Brunswick Junction, Mount William and Bunbury have had around 3 millimetres since 9 o'clock this morning. And as you have a look at the satellite images, you can see the fronts are pretty weak and we're only getting the tail of them over the southwest corner of the state. Perth recorded 0.6 of a millimetre since I was with you last night, so the total for the month is 8.6 millimetres. On to rainfall for tomorrow, and as was the case today, the Bureau suggesting southwest of Lyme from Lancelin to Bunbury there could be showers. They're more likely near the coast and most totals will be low. To give you an indication, they're only forecasting 2 millimetres for Bunbury and Busselton and 1 millimetre for Albany. On the chart, you can also see with another cold front moving towards the southwest Capes later tomorrow, the strong wind warning stays in place for the southern coastline from Cape Leeuwin to Bremer Bay. But north of the south coast, the winds drop off pretty quickly. On our local waters, we're expecting west to northwesterly winds of 15 to 20 knots. During the afternoon, they'll be west to southwesterly and they'll ease off to 10 to 15 knots. So in the morning, the seas will be between 1 and 1.5 metres, but they'll be back to about a metre in the afternoon, and the southwesterly swell between 2 and 3. 24.5 was the maximum today. That was at 13 to 2. The overnight minimum was 15.1 at 4 minutes to 7 this morning. It's around 20 now. The winds are westerly. The barometer 1,015.6, and it looks like it's stabilised around that spot, and the relative humidity 70%. Temperatures tomorrow, another cool one for dwelling up with 21 degrees, but it should reach 24 at Osborne Park, Bibra Lake and Baldivis, 25 at Maddington and Swan View, and up at Bullsbrook you can expect one of the higher temperatures with 26 tomorrow. For the city, it looks like it's going to be cloudy once again. There is still this slight chance of picking up a shower with that next cold front going through, but the Bureau is suggesting it's going to be similar today, probably about 0.4 of a millimetre. We're expecting light to moderate westerly winds, a minimum of 15 and a maximum of 24. And 24 is a popular number. We're getting it again on Thursday after an overnight minimum of 16. Friday we get up to 25 degrees. Saturday 24, Sunday 24, Monday 24, and just to break it up, next Tuesday they've thrown in a 22.
Ooh, it's on the edge.
Don't
Thanks,
get
Michael.
too excited.
More on updates later. For now, enjoy your evening.
Good night. See you tomorrow.
Tonight.